This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Purina believes no one should have to make the impossible choice between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Through the Purple Leash Project, Purina is helping create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit purina.com/purple to learn more.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
We have had round 2 of the URC, and it was a truncated round as some games were unfortunately postponed due to the weather. But the storm was not only in the skies, as all over pitches across the world, we saw some incredible lightning-fast rugby and some strikes of thunder as well. Let's talk all about it on this week's show. Let's get it started.
You're listening to United Rugby Rewind.
As you can see, I am joined for this truncated round of the URC by a truncated panel with Adam and Mohammed. Good evening, gents.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, unfortunately, Policeman Ben is otherwise indisposed this evening, but we've only got 6 games to talk about, so let's crack straight on with it. There's only one place to start, and it has to be with the repeat of last year's grand final, Leinster versus Bulls, or Bulls versus Leinster, I should say, up in Loftus. And a victory it was, revenge best served bride in Pretoria for the Bulls. In Mohammed, it's a cliche, but we'll say it anyway, a great advert for the URC.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this beginning of the tenure of Johan Ackerman's time at Loftus. The ball's being thrown around. They're giving the opposition a sniff in every time. They've come up against a slightly better team than last week, and he rotated the team somewhat, front, forwards, and backs. It's a fun time, you know. It's not without its sort of controversy, and it also shows that Ackerman is using the broader Bull squad, because I really admire the quality they have throughout the team, like Servino Jacobs, for example. Some Oaks who are on the bench moved to the starting team. I reiterate what I said last week, that if you do go to Loftus or you watch a Bulls game, you're definitely going to be entertained. And I'd actually bet them to actually, or pick them to actually win just as many games under Ackerman as they did under Jake White. I don't think there's going to be a massive drop-off. Yeah.
Well, there's not many teams that can say they've conceded 71 points in 2 games and are unbeaten. So, you know, we'll talk about all the positives in a minute, but by God, Mohammed, this was a factor under Jake. The kind of to and fro of it, they got out to a lead, then Leinster came back. It was a thrilling match and some brilliant tries, which we'll pick up some clips in a second. But why does this keep happening with the Bulls? What's going on? Why can't they defend?
It's weird because they've had a broken up preseason with a new management coach coming in, although he did retain some of Jake White's backroom staff. In the knockout round, this might come back to him, but it's early days, so I'm not panicking. But defensive structures are a bit of a concern. They are scoring enough tries at this point, but they're not exactly coming up against the best of opposition, even though Leinster have a good team, and they've also rotated from the Stormers game. And they brought some good players onto the starting 15 as well. So maybe they just need a bit more time with this coaching staff. That's what I'm hoping. But they did have a lot of time with Jake White, and they still didn't figure it out. So we'll have to see how the season progresses.
They do look very natural, though, on attack. Then they're backing themselves. They're backing their skills. And just pace. They're just such a fast team.
Yeah, they've got a
Um,
lot of good fast players. Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw Chisholm Joester put on the afterburners last week.
Yeah, and Adam, from a Leinster point of view, 0 from 2, they did pick up one losing bonus point from this game, but I don't know. This has to be one of the low points for Leinster in the URC so far. Yes, it's been a difficult start away to Bulls, away to Stormers, but it haven't didn't score a try until the 30th minute of the second game of the season, and it's two hidings really.
yeah, they were in two losing bonus point territory until the last sort of, was it 3 minutes of the game when an intercept pass was getting thrown.
That intercept was horrendous. Like Prendergast was walking. I've never seen a man look so gassed in my life.
Yeah, which is going to be really interesting for the state of the Irish 10 debate, which I'm sure we're gonna hear about in the Interpro show on Tuesday. But I found it much more like this, at least for Leinster's sake, that they scored four tries in Loftus, which is, no mean feat for a team. But as we say, the Bulls were absolutely formidable. The Willie LaRue score was unbelievable, and the fact that he still, as you say, they're so quick, but he's still gassed. I think he gassed most of the Leinster backline still, in that sense as well. But not to say that Leinster didn't play some nice running rugby. With Tommy O'Brien's try was a nice wee wing move as well. It's not all. I don't think it's all necessarily like warning signs for Leinster at the minute. I think this is we have to remember this is the first two games, and it's the first two games in South Africa. It's very
Mm.
difficult to win in South Africa. I feel like for Leinster going into the November internationals, probably going to go probably 2-2, to be honest with you. I'm not so sure how many games we have left of the round. That's just off the top of my head. But with Leinster with taking away South Africa first, I think it's only going to benefit them. But their team wasn't weak. Um,
No.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure so much about the Bulls as we say. It was a heavily rotated team. It was Marcel Coetzee 100th URC get match as well. I have to give plaudits to him being a former Ulsterman. But yeah, it wasn't a weak Leinster team at all. But you have to say they did show fight, and they did show some good sparks of running rugby as well. But it's the defense. It's that sort of which is really weird for Leinster having with their coaching setup. It just find it bizarre the fact that they can concede the best part of like near enough 70 points over the last couple of
74.
74. When have we ever seen this happen at Leinster? But as we say, as I
Jack's there with his newly signed contract. Ha 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 ha. I've
yeah,
signed it now.
exactly. He signed it. He signed it. He needs to sort out the defense. If something happened, like Leinster would have beaten teams last year with their third string team. I'd argue that this is their probably second string team with the likes of Prendergast, who's first team, Robbie Henshaw, who's in and out of first team, and Tommy and Jimmy O'Brien, who are also arguably first team, I reckon. Take away Rico Iwane, who's probably going to walk into this team at the minute. We don't know yet, but without the Leinster Lions, they are struggling, and it's sort of like that common trend that we see with big teams that supply most of the Lions. They will struggle, but Leinster have the backbone to not struggle, so it's bizarre.
Mm,
Leinster
mm.
weirdly have similar depth to the Sharks, but the problem we have is our B team and our C team is a huge raft of injuries. So we'll get to that later. But yeah, I expected more from Leinster in this game. I mean, I'm looking up and down this team. It's not a bad squad at all.
I think with Leinster's team as well, Mohammed's they're like third string. Like we did the Interpro show, and it was their third string pack had a fleet of Irish internationals still. Like they're like front row depth is all international, like international caps. But yes, it's okay to get an international cap, but at the minute, they're just full of everyone's Irish. Like Irish capped, in and around Ireland camps. It is that little bit worrying. It is a bit worrying the fact that we're seeing this in terms of a whole Ireland performance. But then again, it's Leinster. It's a little bit funny. The comments are going to come after me, but they always do, even though I have complimented them multiple times. But yeah,
Really?
we'll see a better Leinster next week, I
Well,
reckon.
that's why it's remarkable. That's why it's making news. Leinster 0 from 2 at the start of the URC
Yeah.
season. It doesn't happen every day.
It doesn't. And do you know what's like even more weird about this whole situation? I'm gonna get onto it later. But Leinster being 0 and 2, Zebra being 2 and 0. What are we what have we tripped into?
That's why they call it best league,
Yeah,
folks.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Why exactly was Harry Burns not even on the bench? Was he injured? What's going on there? Did he enjoy himself a bit too much in Cape Town? Did he
Um,
break team protocol?
No, I think it was just a way to get Kieran Frawley. Like Kieran, I think it was just that split. Kieran Frawley can cover most of the back line in that bench, and then you did Scott Penny and James Cooker in for into that. But they wanted a big pack to come in, and they also wanted that split on the bench as well. So Fintan Gunn and Kieran Frawley, because Frawley can cover basically all the back line anyway. That's probably why Harry Byrne wasn't picked.
Okay.
Mm, mm. So, Leinster fans, let us know your thoughts on the season so far in the comments below. Is it Leo out already, for God's sake? Or do we all just need to chill out a minute? Okay, as alluded to you there, Adam, by
Yeah.
you there, this also doesn't happen every week of this team being number 2 on the running order. But when you are 2 and 0, then you've deserved it. And I, for one, welcome our new Italian overlords. It is, of course, Zebre Parma have today defeated the Lions from Johannesburg to make it two. It's not 2 bonus point wins, but it's 2 wins to start the season. Zebra for the title? Anybody?
They're above 3 Irish provinces, and I know, bearing in mind that 2 of them didn't play on the weekend, but they're fourth in the league. I know it's only the two rounds, but I do welcome the Zebra overlords. The fact that Zebra has been decimated by Treviso in terms of transfers, it's just absolutely incredible to see this. It's just brilliant. I feel like the best league is living up to the standard, and I do feel like in the long run, this league season will probably be the tightest season we're ever going to see because everyone's beating everyone. There's storms wiping out games. It's just going wild, and I'm all for it.
I was so impressed with when they came back into the game because Lions got in front and Zebra came back. So Zebra winning, Lions overtook them, and there was a real moment where the Lions were really on top, and then Zebra came back, and I thought for their score when they came back, they were so calm and so structured and so went through their processes. But there was also some really nice touches. Like Gazy nearly got put out on the wing and then managed to flick the ball inside and they recycled and they kept going. And the commentator was like, this is genuinely really, really good rugby. And they've shown that not only are they winning, but they're winning under pressure. They're not kind of like scoring 3 tries in the first half and then clinging on for dear life. They're putting together robust 80-minute performances. Okay, you're always going to have a point in a game where the other team is on top, but massively impressive. And 2 from 2 is not to be sniffed at by any standards. But Mohammed, Lions 0 from 2. How's your top 6 prediction looking?
Oh, well, I'm going to admit that producer Lee texted me and said, can you just spice up that episode with crazy predictions? Otherwise, everyone's log is going to look the same. But yeah, end of last season, all those announcements from the Lions of the players that they were recruiting, and the sort of fitness of the team, not that many injuries and that type of thing. I really was like patriotically hoping that they would have a better start. It's not ideal starting away from home. They don't have a lot of. They have one player in the Springbok squad who didn't play. He was just part of the like injury cover, so they can't really point to that. It's disappointing. There's some serious questions now being spoken about the Lions coaching staff and thinking of like, could they get someone else in place of Cash van Rooyen? Because they've now got the resources, but they're not getting the results. Yes, it's away from home. I think we're going to see how the season pans out, especially if they keep playing like this and losing losing in this manner at home, then the management at Rudolf Australia and the likes of management in Johannesburg are gonna have to look for different coaching. Maybe even the Griquas coach, who just won the Currie Cup. Um, Ivan van der Berg or something to that effect. I forget what his name is, but yeah, solid team. They had their moments. In the second half, they were really they were playing Lions rugby, where they're throwing the ball around. Predictions from last week, I did say this is going to be a fun game, and it was for the most part, because both teams, they don't skirt defense, but they do like to get the attack going, and then you get some nice movements and things. Yeah, I mean, Edwin Cater scored. Former Sharks. Angela Davids had a good showing. Um, Outside center, Van Wyk, Henko van Wyk, came alive a little in the second half along with Corn, but still wasn't enough. The thing is that one could argue that, oh, your forwards win the game and the backs decide by how much. But the forwards on paper for the Lions are pretty good. The only major guy they're missing is JC Pretorius. So yeah, I'm not happy, and I'm sure my predecessor, South African Allen's not happy either.
No. Go on, Adam.
Is what is it? Is it Batista for not Batista, but the flanker for Zebra? Is he Italian qualified?
I've
Let's have a
got
look here.
absolutely no idea. Way to throw me under the bus there. But
Sorry, sorry. I was just like looking. I remember because I was like watching it going, do you know when you see a player and he's absolutely everywhere, but you don't know if it's because of how cool his hairstyle is.
he's Argentinian.
He's Argentinian,
Ah,
but he's played in Italy for most of his career. So, but yeah, he was just absolutely everywhere. He was an absolute monster, and as we say, Mohammed, like the forwards win games, but he was one of those. He was just absolutely everywhere. It felt like it at points.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just
I don't feel the Lions lost the game. I think Zebre won the game. So credit to
agree.
them. I don't want to take it away from.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Love it. Loving the variety of it. And we all predicted that last season would be a flash in the pan for Zebra, and I said that I thought they would finish bottom. They're rubbing my face in it, aren't they? Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Before we move any further, just want to remind people, if you're enjoying the show so far, please consider subscribing to the channel. Last week, I said we're on 700 now. By the time I speak to you next, I want to be on 800. And we went and bloody did it. We only gone and bloody done it. So next week, I want to be on 900 by the time we speak to you. We're going to be on 1,000 by the end of the month. You watch. So just subscribe, will you? Because it's going quite well, and we're really enthusiastic about speaking about the URC, and we're going to do it all season. This is the only place where you're going to hear every team spoken about, and you're going to have a voice from every shield, apart from when Policeman Ben isn't free. So, what more do you want? Hit subscribe. What was next on the agenda? I've got a feeling, lads, that it was Munster versus Cardiff.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So another team, 2 from 2. We're doing all the 2 from 2s. What do we think of that one then, Adam? A very different kind of performance to their win over the Scarlets. Were they lucky?
Yeah, I think Cardiff came out pretty well. I thought Josh Adams try was particularly very good at the very start of the game. I thought Sheedy, I'm not sure about what you think, Hugh. I thought he had a pretty good game.
I've only really seen the highlights, but excuse me, from the highlights, I would say it's the best moments that I've seen Sheedy have in a blue and black jersey for me.
Yeah, but it's also as well, you have to talk about zero conversions. If they would have scored all their conversions, they would have won the game. And
Set Cardiff. That's how they do things.
it's
It's
sort
because
of
they
like
always score in the corner. It's because they play sexy, stupid rugby. They always score in the corner, which means their conversions are really hard. So they never ever score their conversions. They always lose by 2 points. This was Cardiff bingo. This game. This was sexy rugby. 4 tries, rattle a big team, miss all your conversions, lose. This is the most Cardiff rugby match you've ever seen.
it's like playing rugby 2011 on the Xbox 360 and you're not quite figured out how to kick yet. But I have to say though, Munster winning it just sort of shows the team that they are at the minute. The Jack Crawley hit his penalty and hit a drop goal as well, just to sort of that was in around about a time where I think it was 2015 and they just needed something to it was around around about 76th minute just to edge that win just to like get it so that it was completely out of the way for them. But yeah, I thought Munster had a pretty tidy game, a pretty like their second half was better. But yeah, it's one of those. If Cardiff got all of their conversions, if they got all of their kicks, you could probably say it was the weather in Thormund. You could probably say it was a mixture of things, but it was a lucky win for Munster. Is it classic Munster? Possibly with a lucky win like that.
Yes, Mohammed.
Yeah, so Munster are Zebre might not be going with the form book, but Munster very much so. And it speaks to the character of Munster that they're winning ugly, they're winning when they're not necessarily not that favored to win towards the end of the game and that type of thing. They're grinding out wins, which you need really to be 1 or 2 on the log, which gives you the best chance of actually winning this tournament. Yes, we've seen teams win the whole thing, not finishing 1 or 2, but statistically, you're going to want to do that. And I can only see like Leinster with the depth and ability, like Leinster, Munster, and maybe the Bulls do that. Also, Munster having a player by the name of Brian Gleeson threw me off a little last week. I was like, the guy from Peaky Blinders? What's going on here?
Yeah, well, good point. But I think not foreshadowing Adam, but drop goals were a bit of a theme this week. I don't kind of want to lean into it because I know you're going to do it on the Interpro show, but Jack Crowley is he's just the guy, isn't he?
He is. I think it's such an interesting thing for Irish rugby, and do tune into the Interpro show because I can imagine it's going to be quite a tasty one. Being an Ulster fan, I don't really have any say in the matter with I don't have
Sorry,
it.
just on this. This is just
Yes.
tasty. Sorry, carry on.
It's so slick. That's another thing that I've noticed about Irish teams. I was going to say about Leinster as well. We're not really covering wing that well. I don't think like there's been a lot of crossfield kicks against Irish teams, so I don't know if that's a. We normally follow the Ireland sort of playbook in that sense. So I hope in the November internationals that that's not a growing concern. But yeah, anyway, to get to my point, Jack Crowley, yes, he's certainly showing promise again. Well, he never really lost it really. He's stepping up. He's doing the step up that he needs to in this time, and Sam Prendergast is also going to inevitably step up at some point. But it's really good. As an Ulster fan that also likes enjoying watching Ireland rugby, it's sort of like watching two cousins fight at Christmas. You don't want either one to win, but you know in the main run that it's going to be a great Christmas because that's what you're going to talk about. But yeah, it's sort of like we are having our Sexton v O'Gara moment again. We needed this. We needed a bit of fire in the belly for the Ireland sort of the Ireland media essentially because. I haven't really seen much about Prendergast, but I've seen all the headlines sort of about Crawley and how well he's been playing. So, it's I just find it so fun to watch. It just makes the Ireland squad better.
And of course, Andy Farrell, a man famous for admitting when he was wrong and changing.
Oh yeah, I think Owen Farrell is Irish qualified in a week or two teams, so a week or two times. So, he's just Irish, so he's close enough. What Andy Farrell says.
Oh, yeah. But still, I think generally Munster 2 from 2 to start the season. I think that's just what the doctor ordered. I think from a Cardiff point of view, not that I'm a Cardiff fan, but obviously being the Welsh voice on the pod, like I said, it's Cardiff bingo this game. I think, to be fair, when Matt Sherratt left, I was a little bit worried that they would just collapse, but they haven't. Like I said, Sheedy, who's someone I've criticised in the past, I think that this was probably up there with his best, if not the best game I've seen him play. And they just they look like they know what they're doing. Their attack, it'll be interesting to see if this maintains because under Matt Sherratt, his thing is attack. He's now Wales attack coach. So this attack that we're seeing now, you would think that that's all Matt Sherratt. So the longer that they go without him, does that start to fall apart?
Yeah.
We'll see. But in the meantime, it's great to watch. So hopefully that they can get a few fans down cap to watch them because they're well worth a watch at the moment.
I think as well on a Munster standpoint is that they've got Edinburgh next week who have not had a game this week, and then they go to Croke Park on Saturday the 18th. Lions locked and loaded for both teams probably around that time as well. it's just setting up to be a blockbuster. We're seeing a couple of we're waiting to see a gap increase. We're waiting to see an actual front leader. We haven't really got that yet. And I'd say, that Croke Park game in 2 weeks' time is going to be absolutely incredible. I'd even say the Edinburgh game is going to be incredible too, as well, because we don't know which type of Edinburgh we're going to see, like we said last week.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh.
Yeah, spooky.
We'll have to tune in and watch, and then you can catch all the reaction here on the URC Rewind. Okay, next game. I don't know how much of this anybody caught. I've seen the highlights, but Benetton getting back on the horse and beating Glasgow. Again, a result that I think the league needs. I maintain that the league needs a strong Benetton, even though it now has a strong Zebra. Bow down to our Zebra overlords. But it's kind of reassuring to see them put on this performance. Again, another winning drop goal to seal the deal from Rhino Smith.
Paul's Owen Lino Smith.
Paul's own. I was hoping you'd chip in there, Mohammed, to be honest. It's just who wants to chip in with their thoughts on this one? I don't have anything against Glasgow, but I'm hearted that Benetton managed to pull this out the bag.
I'll go first. Yeah, I didn't get to watch the whole game, but I was hoping Zebra, Benetton, I keep saying Zebra, would pull something off here. This obviously vindicates my prediction to not put Glasgow in the playoffs. Hopefully things go this way. I've actually met Reno Smith a few times. Weirdly, when he made his debut for the Sharks, people were saying, "Oh, he's quite small." He's bulked up since then, but obviously hasn't gotten taller. I'm quite impressed by his adaptation to Italy. He speaks Italian very, very fluently. He's really made a home there. They were talking in the game. They were talking about how he recently bought a home with his wife and his kid, and they're renovating it. So good for him. What was interesting is that he played varsity cup for I forget the team, but they play out in Potchefstroom, and then he played for the Leopards under Robert Dupree Senior, who's now at Sale Sharks. I think he's still at Sale Sharks. Robert Dupree Junior's dad, Jean-Luc Dupree's dad as well, and then him and Bernard Janssen van Rensburg of the Prem fame, inside center now, who at the time was more of a fly off. They got brought in when Robert Dupree came from the Leopards to the Sharks, and Rhino Smith, both of them didn't really stick around long at the Sharks. Bernard Janssen van Rensburg first went to the Cheetahs and then he went to the Prem. I think it's Bristol Bears, and then Rhino Smith went to the Cheetahs, moved around a little, but now he really settled in and he bulked up a lot. I've said that before, but what's interesting is people said, "Oh, this guy's really short for rugby." And when I met him in person at the Sharks Supporters Club in Newlands, which doesn't exist anymore, he's just the same height as me. So people look small on TV because they're standing next to a lock. So yeah, I like this parity. I like the fact that they won this game, and it was a fun game to watch as well, despite the not being many tries.
Yeah, it was a second half comeback as well. The show again showing that resilience to turn the ship around. I just want to kind of draw attention to it, and maybe I'll get you to come in on this, Adam. The Zebra lineup. If I look at the backs, you've got Alessandro Garbisi, Italian international, Jacob Umanga, as of this season, a Samoa international, apparently. Left wing, Paolo Adogwu. Inside centres, Fekitoa. Outside centre, Thomas Manicello. More on him in a second. Right wing, Lewis Liner. Fullback, Matt Gallagher, which meant that Rhino Smith was coming off the bench. If I look further up the team, you've got Michele Lamoureux, Alessandro Isakor, Eli Snyman. It's a good team. This is why we have expectations of Benetton. It's because they got good players.
They've got very good players. That's what I championed Connacht's win last week on both podcasts that I'm on, because this Treviso team, I pointed out their centers. They've got Fekitoa and Menincello. That is one of these center partnerships on paper in the URC. It's mental. Like the amount of resources they have now, Treviso, and the fact that, as we say, Rhino Smith, I do think that he was one of the better Cheetah players in the Pro 14. I think he was one of the best South African players out of those two teams of the Southern Kings and the Cheetahs to play in the Pro 14 when it was a thing. But I'm really, it's brilliant to see. And it's really worrying for all the rest of the league to see that Glasgow struggled in the Stadio Monigo, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the Stadio Monigo, because I don't feel like they're going to lose a lot there. I think this is their statement game. We've got the likes of Lamero as well, who I feel is incredible. It's just really good to see a good Treviso team, and as you say, Hugh, it's good for the league. It's good the fact that they had the second half comeback, whereas I'd say Italian teams gone by, they would normally give up by the second half. It's normally that classic, they'll stop playing by 50 minutes if they're not winning, and then they'll just fall off. What we saw with Zebra and what we saw with Treviso is they fought, and that's what we need. The league needs two good Italian teams now, and now we do have them. And well, it's great. URC is the best league.
And they didn't exactly defeat a lesser Glasgow team. I'm looking through the Glasgow team. I mean, Josh Mackay, coming over from New Zealand, I believe, soon to be Scottish international. They've got a really solid team. I mean, Benetton kept Johnny Matthews quiet, and we couldn't last week.
Mm.
Well,
One thing I just want to draw attention to as well is enjoy Tommaso Menoncello while we got him, because we're just waiting on the official confirmation that he has been signed by, guess who, Toulouse.
Of course.
Does that mean he leaves mid-season or at the end of the season?
I think at the end of the season. He's contracted for this season, so Toulouse would have to pay him out. But Peter Aki, we think, is leaving Toulouse. So hence they're signing Tommaso Menoncello to replace him, which is not a downgrade at all.
Toulouse are one of those teams. They did it with Blair Kinghorn a couple of years ago, where they did buy him out of the contract, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because I remember we got beat by Edinburgh, and then the week after we played Toulouse, and Kinghorn was there also to beat us as well. So, fair play to Toulouse. They've got the money, but it's sad to see a player like Menoncello leave the league. But also as well, we've got Tupolotto in centre for Glasgow as well. Lion Tupolotto in the center as well. So as you said, Mohammed, it wasn't a weak Glasgow team, at all. But yeah, it's so good. The league's working out so well. It's only been two rounds.
It gives me hope because my team hasn't won at all yet. So
Well, let's come on to them now then. So Dragons versus Sharks. I have thoughts.
I've got them.
Obviously, we'll get on to the theme of the weekend, which we've already referred to a couple of times, but it's difficult to know who to let go first with it being a draw, because you'd say that it's closer to being a win for the Dragons. It's
I think
the
you should
yellow
go first,
kit is a thing, I guess. Aaron Wainwright, great player. Newsflash. He looks like he's put on a little bit of weight in a good way. Maybe it's just the yellow jerseys, because I thought that Zebra looked big as well today. I thought that this guy, Fetuli Paella, in the 13, I thought he was outstanding until he looks like he broke his arm. And then, I don't know if anybody saw, did you guys watch this game or watch any of this game?
I like bits and pieces.
Okay, so I'll tell
Yeah,
you
we
what
should.
happened then, Adam. So he done his arm. He's holding it like this. For people who are listening on audio, I'm holding my arm like this. And he starts wandering back, and he's trying to keep out of play. He's clearly uncomfortable. He's a Tongan, massive, he's huge Tongan bloke. So he's obviously acting all hard, but he's clearly in discomfort. Meanwhile, the ball's been kicked down Dragons' half. Angus O'Brien, for reasons known only to himself, in the hammering rain, horrible weather, fields the ball in his own half with no one around him and thinks, I know, I'm going to run this back. Starts running it back, sidesteps no one, slips over and slides tackles the broken-armed Paella as he's walking back. Paella then goes down in a heap and lands on the arm that he's just injured. And Rian Lowe clipped it up and put it on socials and just went, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. And I was like, what just happened? Angus O'Brien is one of those players. I don't know, Adam, you can probably think of players in Ulster you've had like this. He's clearly extremely talented, and has in every game he plays has a great moment. But you're just at the point of like, I'm done now. I've had it. I've seen enough. I'm ready for this movie to end.
Who did we have for Ulster that was like that? I would say when Charles Piatow when he signed for Bristol in September, that was it, because I think we came fifth. It was the time that you had to be top four to be in the semi-finals of the Pro 14, and it was sort of like, oh, this love story's over. We've already signed for a club. But Angus O'Brien was one of those players that I always thought that he would have kicked on at one point. He was always like knocking on the door to like do better things, but I never thought he never really did he?
He does one good thing or two good things every game, but he also does two things that make you go, "Why have you done that?"
He's never
Like,
had he's never had a Welsh cap, has he?
no, I don't think he ever will either.
No.
Um, Matt Hamid, from the Sharks' point of view, before we get on to how the game ended, from a Sharks' point of view, did you get lucky with the draw?
Well, they are wearing the Wolverhampton Wanderers kits, and that is a football team, and there's lots of draws in football other than rugby. So yeah, better performance from us. I didn't expect us to dominate. I looked at the scrum stats after watching the game. I didn't expect us to dominate the scrum that much.
Mm.
Unideal conditions. I think maybe if we had a calmer weather, not a storm and not as much wind, random wind and that type of thing, we might have actually used our scrum dominance to actually get the victory. This is very interesting because last season were supposed to start off for the Lions, and that game got suspended, and then we started with Connacht. Players were tired, played a really good first half, and then fell apart in the second half. And then our second game of the season and on tour, just like this year, was against Dragons at this exact same venue. And we won that game by hook or by crook, really, when our hooker, Faisal Bata, went over at the last minute and scored the try, pick and go, that type of thing. But Dragons were better, much better this season in this game on Friday night, and we didn't really turn up in the way we needed to. Weirdly, our scrums are obviously much better than theirs. Our lineups were slightly better than theirs. So shout outs to Mervyn Ori. He really brought a lot of maturity and experience there, and it helped us out a lot. We were discussing this over the weekend, and I felt like this was actually a closer game to a Currie Cup game than a URC game. Whereas last week we got outplayed and outclassed by Glasgow, especially towards the end. The dragon on dragon violence was quite funny. And then Jorenzo Juli's clearing out. We could have won the game at the end, and Jorenzo Juli's cleared out the guy at the ruck off the ball. I need to watch that replay again. The guy might have just bought it, maybe. He was on the side of the ruck, and then he might have just moved slightly away to buy the penalty. But yeah, annoying, but this is going to be a long, tough start to the season away
Yeah,
from home.
this is the Dragons' second try. This is Paye again. Boosh. Ah. And then this is the thing, when you play with Tongas, you need to get used to them passing the ball when they're already basically over the line. Like he very much could have just ran over, but no, he gives it to Angus O'Brien and nearly drops it. um,
Do you know what? It really shows how good I know we mentioned it last year. No, last year, last week, about De Beer's influence in Newport. But it is he's a really do
oh
team.
no, this is the second try. So this is Aaron Wainwright's try. Yeah, lovely, lovely play.
Oh, yeah, very nice try. But does it like show that De Beers made this big difference in this Newport team? No, not Newport. I can't say that. But anyway, Dragons team. I apologize. To this
Well,
drag.
this is the thing. You'd love to say so, but
Yeah. Oh yeah.
they
Well.
didn't take the drop goal. They didn't take the drop goal. They were beneath the posts. They had a ruck beneath the posts. It's the easiest drop goal you've ever seen in your life. And you're like, just take it. I was literally on my knees because I happened to be doing something else at the same time. But I was literally on my knees in front of the TV. I was like, take the drop goal. Take the drop goal. Why is no one on? I'm not a professional rugby player. There must have been people in the stands. The people who go in the stands in Newport know their rugby. There must have been people going, take the drop goal. And they just didn't. And then Roger Williams flings this mad
Pass.
looping over the head pass from someone. They go close and then they knock it on at the line. And it's like, said Dragons. We are the Dragons. It's what we do.
It was like the Dragons for a split second forgot that there was like a moderate warning for weather tried to do a skip pass like
Maybe they thought they were playing for a losing bonus.
Yeah, playing for
Weirdly, the Sharks' ball in hand in attack was pretty solid. Yeah, considering the conditions.
Yeah.
yeah, but you expect nice running rugby from the Sharks, but you don't expect skip pass last minute when there's a fly half behind the ruck going.
To be fair,
Yeah.
someone did say that De Beer was in the pocket, so maybe
Mhm.
they
There
ignored
was
him.
a
So I'll hold just fully blaming him.
yeah.
But at the same time, you'd like to think that your fly half would go, lads, give me the ball. This is
Yeah.
not a debate.
I think we
But
do need to give De Beer his flowers because I mean, a guy coming out of the Bulls youth system didn't really get an opportunity, was thought of as being too
sorry, hang
small.
on. Is this
Yeah,
I got to give him his flowers because he's South African or because he's
yeah,
played well? Yeah.
yeah. Both, both,
Okay.
both. Both.
Right. Okay. Right.
I was told to be biased when I came on this podcast.
Right. So okay. But I like Tinas De Beer, so I don't want to pour hate on him either. Last game that
Yeah.
I forgot is Stormers versus Ospreys. Stormers also 2 from 2. And scored some nice tries in this. Also had some really not good play as well. Mohammed, the Stormers, like I said, 2 from 2, 2 bonus point victories. I say that they're still a bit rubbish. What say you?
I think they've pleasantly surprised me. Same venue, same time, same place, Friday after Friday. Slightly more people there, 13,500 last week, and now 13,663 this week. A different player stepped up this time. It was Severus and Natla who played really well last
Oh
week
yeah,
Friday,
a
and this
fullback,
and
yeah.
then this week it's a one DC Similani, like might have been playing fullback, but was constantly in the outside center position, breaking the line. Highly sought after player. Maybe dropped off a bit after his move from the Lions to the Bulls. Didn't get an opportunity there. Was basically just shunted to the wing and has revitalized himself in the Stormer setup. His brother's apparently also quite a good player. His brother's in the under 18 system, also a backline player. So yeah, Stormers. This is how you want to start the season. Stormers don't have as many players missing from their team to injury. Oh well, they actually got more players injured and or retired. Like Brock Harris is no longer there, and obviously they're missing Stephen Kitsoff, but they're not actually missing that many players to the Springbok setup. It's good to see Ben Jason Dixon, even though he started this game on the bench, make such a good impact. Ben Jason Dixon and so, Vincent Tuka basically are the understudies to Peter Steph Toy. So if anything happens to Peter Steph Toy, those guys are going to have to step up in some circumstance. So yeah, Ben Jason Dixon also somewhat under a cloud of controversy because last season he basically told the Stormers either you give me a better contract or I leave, and it went to arbitration, and the arbiter fell on the side of the Stormers and said like Ben Jason Dixon has to um, honor his contract. So, well, he's like in his later 20s and he's really broken through now. So I guess that's why he wanted a better contract. But yeah, I'd rather be a Stormer supporter and start 2 games at home, play a good Leinster team and a somewhat okay Ospreys team, although the Ospreys played really well. Ospreys plays in spurts though, than be a Sharks team who missed 9 players. The Sharks team almost has as many players missing to the Springbok team as the whole Japanese league. So, because we've got 9, but we'll maybe get a few back next week for Leinster. But will that even help? Well, if Glasgow already bring the inside centre back from the Lions, how many players are Leinster going to bring in next week? So,
Hmm.
Stormers are not going to complain. This is how you need to get the victories because later in the season you might have off games away from home. So.
Well, yeah. I just wanted to talk about this try because it made me really mad when I saw it. One missed tackle, and it's try time. It's literally a 70-meter run in from one missed tackle. It's not good enough from the Stormers. I'm sorry. It's just pants. And Dan Kasende, to be fair, I think he played well. Ross Moriarty got a lot of plaudits from the commentators. I think Kasende was definitely Osprey's best player, obviously living it up in his home country. Kieran Hardy with the double Scarlets Legends. I think that's the end of the positives, to be honest, from the Ospreys. They obviously didn't score a single point in the second half.
It feels really weird how it in the try
Oh,
that
is this the really cool try? Yeah, this is a nice try.
Hmm.
In the try that you've just shown, the Ospreys one, it was sort of like the shoot up from the blitz, but it was almost like no one else knew that the blitz was happening, and that's what caused everything else to go wrong.
I just don't see organization from the Stormers. I just don't see 15 blokes all doing the same plan. I mean,
Well,
when you compare to other teams in the league, like URC rugby is really structured for the most part. I think the South Africans are kind of the odd ones out, but like I referred to Zebra before, you're used to really structured play.
yeah.
And the South Africans don't do that so much, but I think the Stormers are like extreme unstructured. And to be, I'm criticizing them where they're 2 from 2. Like I said, 2 bonus point wins to start the season, but I'm not seeing a process being followed here. So, but you
Yes.
know
So
what?
hopefully the coaching staff is picking up on these things as well. I suspect they are. And you want to make these types of mistakes and get on the player's case at this point. Also worth noting that Dan Kasende, South Africa is his adoptive country because he's actually born in DR Congo. But I know that's sort of an obscure
Oh,
pub quiz question for Adam one day. They were like,
fair
where
play.
was where was Dan Kasende born, Adam?
Congo, yes, come on.
Well, there you go. That's me told, and I appreciate the new information. Okay, right. Let's talk about websites being weird. That's all the games, I think. Obviously, 2 rained off was Connacht versus Scarlets and Ulster versus Edinburgh. So we can't talk about them because it didn't happen. So we're now going to get into our predictions for next week. Let's get straight into it, lads. Good games this week. So Munster versus Edinburgh at home. Adam, great opportunity to go 3 from 3 for Munster.
Yeah, I would say it's going to be 3 from 3. It's in Cork. It's going to be. I'm not sure about the weather forecast this week, but hopefully we'll have some nicer weather this week. But yeah, I'd say Munster will beat Edinburgh by 10 points, I reckon.
Mhm. Next, my Scarlets versus the Stormers. I feel like Stormers fans in the comments, if they beat us, will be back for me. I don't hate the Stormers. I know I'm wearing a Bulls shirt today. Okay, I know I am, but I do like the Stormers. I promise. That's why I feel passionately about them. Anyway, but I like the Scarlets better. So Scarlets by 2. Mohammed, what's your prediction for this one?
Stormers by 3, Hooker by Crook, depending on what team they can actually put out. Can they get Sasha Feinberg and Gomez Zulu, our Lord and Savior, back next week? No,
So I
probably
am
not.
told that the Stormers box are hanging around in the UK waiting for the Stormers to catch them up. So I would think that they won't play this game though.
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking. They probably just rest the week, but stay in Europe and then play the next game on tour.
Mm. The Parky Scarlets isn't a great one for Friday night because Llanelli is a million miles from everywhere, so a late kickoff just isn't our thing.
That bounced from Yuri Mattia in the game. So Stormers actually had 2 really good tries. The bounce where he kicked it and Ivan Roos scored the try. That was very good. So well done, Yuri Mattia. I'm sure he's going to say he meant to do that.
I'm sure. Benetton versus Lions. Again, you got to say that Benetton, this is a great opportunity. Lions, Mohammed staring down the barrel of 0 from 3 for me.
Yeah, probably Lions lose, but with this season, you never know. So I'm hoping Lions somehow pull it off. I mean, if they keep playing with that sort of weird second/third kit with no front sponsor in Italy, I think that's basically why they lost to Zebre because the Italians were so insulted by the design of that kit.
Okay. Ospreys versus Zebra, the kind of game that you would normally go, okay, but this season you're like, ooh. So the Ospreys need a win. I don't know if they're going to bring many players back because honestly, they're not actually missing that many at the moment. Jack Morgan being the big one to come back. Zebra will be coming in full of confidence, and it's going to be played at Bridgend Brewery Field, first game of the season there. I don't know. Is it last season's brain to say that the Ospreys are favourites?
Possibly. I think this is Zebra's chance here. If Zebra go 3-0, it would be one of those that everyone has to sort of sit up and now take notice. Um, I don't know. I'd say it's one of those like heart says Zebra, mind also says Zebra after the way that they've been playing at the minute. But
The
I don't know
Ospreys
if
don't
that's
have a great history against Zebra. They lost out in Parma last season. I think the season before that, they beat them by 3 points. It was like 34-31. and I think they've lost to them a couple of times.
They were one of the ones that got beat by, was that last year when we
Yeah.
got beat by Zebra in Belfast, and then did they go, was it Edinburgh or was it Ospreys who they beat also away as well?
No, they beat Ospreys in Parma.
Oh, it beat Ospreys in Parliament. But yeah, but that's the thing. Like I think Zebra are looking to build. I think they're hungry for it. I think it's quite an exciting Zebra team to see.
What do zebras do? You don't get mauled by a zebra. You're getting kicked
Um,
by the zebra.
Trampled. Yeah, you get
Trampled. You're getting
yeah.
trampled by the zebra. Okay. Excellent. Right. No, but I do think the Ospreys will win. Glasgow versus Dragons. There's not much point lingering on this one, is there, lads?
no,
Mm.
Glasgow by 20, I reckon.
Okay. Leinster versus the Hollywood Bets. Again, Mohammed, you just don't do Northern Tours. I'm sorry.
No, especially the start of the season. Last year we at least beat the Dragons in in the middle of the game. So we lost to Connacht, beat the Dragons, lost convincingly. We were completely outclassed by Benetton. So yeah, especially if Leinster are very upset about how. Imagine Leinster had gotten some points or at least pulled a win in their tour of South Africa, and then they come back. They probably say to the Lions players, "Hey guys, chill. We'll like slowly bleed you into the team and that type of thing." They might just draft a few more than they intended to beginning of the season plans, just to get going again
What? So
against the Sharks. Yeah.
Ox, Bongi, I can see Bongi playing.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Leinster bringing their Lions in, yeah. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
the
So,
Sharks, Mampimpi definitely. Maybe Issa isn't, definitely not Grant Williams. Bongi, yeah, Bongi hasn't played much at all because Bongi also got some time off because of for personal reasons, for family bereavement and that type of thing.
yeah.
So he played in the rugby championships. Bongi played the first game and then he played the last game. So the 4 games in between, he didn't play at all. So yeah, we could use Bongi. We didn't actually mention that Edwin Swart played for the Sharks this week and last week, and obviously you know him well from the Scarlets. Yeah,
Kinda.
the hooker, He played
Yeah,
four
yeah.
times for Edwin Swart. Yeah,
Apparently, he's covering hooker, prop, and back row for the
yeah,
Sharks.
exactly.
But isn't it weird, Adam, how Leinster have started the season with 3 games against South African franchises?
I
Are they? Oh, are they still at the Aviva as well? By the way, RDS not finished.
The RDS isn't finished now. It's like one of those like really when is it ever going to get finished type of stadiums. I feel like, sort of like the Hill Dickinson in the Premier League too. Well, it's finished now, but living in Merseyside, I've always sort of saw it getting built. It feels like it's forever, but I think Leinster are going to use the Aviva until it sort of runs out of steam at this rate. But I feel like
Mm,
they're going to have the likes of like Van der Fleer back in the squad. But because he
Mm.
wasn't in the test team for the Lions, I feel like they're gonna slowly bring back the ones that weren't in the Lions squad like a lot. So I say like Van der Fleer is gonna come back in. I'd say Osborne as well. Well, Clarkson came back this week as well. So I'd say they'd have a stronger team to pick from. I think the actual test Lions are going to come back the week after. But I think Leinster are going to have a lot to prove here, and I do think they're going to win it. But I don't think it's going to be by a lot. I'd say it would be by about 10. I don't think they're going to put in their statement piece until they try and really go for Munster. I reckon that's the game to be looking at, and they're also going to be looking at that behind in the back mirror as well.
mm.
Just seeing that coming across. But I'd say Leinster by 10. I'd say it would be convincing, but not as convincing like as in like 20 points. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sharks
So
would have had a better shot if we still had some of our B team players available. If you don't have your Springboks, fair enough. But like if Jordan Hendricks, if Siamasuku's injured, that really hamstrings you. Yeah.
yeah. Ulster versus Bulls. Adam. Bulls are normally good on tour. So how you feeling?
Yeah, they're normally good on tour, and I'd say we've got a lot to play for after this week. I think there's a lot of rust. I hope there wasn't any rust from this week. I hope that we did something to sort of combat the fact that we didn't play a game on the weekend. It's going to be a very interesting game. That sort of late night at Ravenhill. We should win. I would hope that we win. Last season, our issue was losing to teams like this away. No, at home even. And us sort of being walkovers at Ravenhill. This is our chance now to build back that Ravenhill spirit again and really fight back. So I'd say Ulster by 3. Ulster by 3. Robert Balakoon's a come back, I reckon. He played in the AIL this weekend, so hopefully he'll be back. Yeah, I'd say Ulster by 3.
Okay, Mohammed, will we see Andre Pollard's Bulls debut?
No, probably not. It seems unlikely. Yes, he didn't play a lot for the Springboks of late, the more recent games, but I think we won't see him, and I think Ulster are slight favourites, if not outright favourites, because right now they're still getting to grips with. They've got a pretty good squad. There's not a lot of injuries, stuff like that, but they're still getting to grips with the Johan Ackerman system. And as we know, in the Johan Ackerman system, is up.
You still there, mate?
I'm here.
Okay, cool. You cut out for a second there, but cool.
Mhm.
So we're,
Okay,
we're all
my
saying
bad.
Ulster then. I would say Bulls because I'm
Yeah.
wearing my Bulls top. Cardiff versus Connacht. I would say Cardiff are favourites, but Connacht seem to be their bogey team. They played them 3 times last season and didn't beat them at all.
It's another one, like I said, with Ulster. It's that sort of like they didn't play this week, and Cardiff played quite well against Munster. It's going to be very interesting to see how, like, well, we have to say the professional teams, so they will have these type of things covered, you would think. Like if Connacht were to get a win here as well, I'd say that would be really beneficial to what they're playing. Like the way they played last week against Treviso was brilliant. So if they bring that type of Connacht with them, I'd say they would win it. But if Cardiff convert their tries, they might be unstoppable. You never know.
Yeah, if they can land a couple of conversions, they'll probably win. I'm going to go Cardiff for this one. I think just about.
I'd say Connacht by 3.
Mm-hmm. All right, that brings us to the end of the show. So thank you for everybody who has watched. If you've made it all the way to the end and you're not subscribed, why not? For God's sake. If you're listening on audio platforms, please drop us a 5-star review if you're on that platform, or if you're on Spotify, you can now watch on Spotify and also leave comments. So do those things. We much appreciate it. And if you have a friend who's really into the URC, or even just getting into the URC and wants to enjoy it more, please share a link with them. It really helps us grow the show, and we're massively grateful. Okay, so cheers to the gents for another great show.
Cheers, thank you.
Cheers from me.
Cheers.
Leave the comments down below. Enjoy your rugby, and I hope everybody's team wins. Cheers. Bye.
That was the United Rugby Rewind. Please rate, review and share us on socials if you can, and join us next week for more of the same. And until then, enjoy your rugby.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.